At the Euros this summer, Hungary will travel to Germany and take with them one of the most notorious ultras groups in world football. So, who are the Carpathian Brigade, and what is it that makes them so controversial? Euro 2024 will be Hungary's third European Championship in a row, but the lasting memory for those who were there at the last two tournaments didn't come from the team itself, but from the supporters. Thousands of Hungarians would turn up for their games dressed in black, chanting, lighting pyro and releasing green smoke bombs on their way through the streets of their host cities, before arriving at the stadium and standing behind the goal in a single block. There they chanted and sang during every game, making an incredible noise, but were virtually impenetrable to outsiders, intimidating even. They didn't speak to journalists, TV crews, vloggers, or pretty much anyone who wasn't part of the group. The only hints of who they were came from the banners and the flags that they displayed. Of course, the red, white and green of the Hungarian flag was prominent, as was the more controversial and provocative map of Greater Hungary, which was hung above an advertising hoarding. There were sometimes banners against LGBTQ rights or against the Black Lives Matter movement. Fights had broken out at some matches, and handily the name of the group was written on a huge banner across the bottom of the stand, the Carpathian Brigade. So who were they? Well, the Carpathian Brigade is a rare thing in supporter culture. It is a genuine national team ultra group. Ultras tend to place club before their national team. The Carpathian Brigade is perhaps the largest and certainly most respected national team ultra group. Named after the Central European mountain range, the Carpathian Basin, and the Carpathian Basin area, which for many Hungarians formed the basis of its historical lands, the group was formed in 2009. It has just 30 to 40 members, but around that hardcore of patriotic supporters are a constellation of ultras from other clubs, namely Ferencváros and their far-right ultras group the Green Monsters. To this day they fly a banner that says Aryan Green, referring to the colour of their shirts. The group was an attempt to build a more patriotic and organised support for a national team that had an incredible history but was now in decline. Ultra-nationalist supporter groups buried their traditional enmity to project strength around what united them most, and what united them most was the injustice of the 1920 Treaty of Trianon. After losing World War I and the collapse of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the Treaty of Trianon redrew Hungary's borders. It lost 3/4 of its territory, and millions of ethnic Hungarians were overnight assigned to a different country than the one they were born in. Communism suppressed any nationalistic fantasies of righting what some Hungarians believed to be historic wrongs, but after the fall of the Berlin Wall, nationalistic grievances became an increasingly potent political force across almost all of Eastern Europe, hence the Greater Hungary maps that appear on Hungarian terraces. But the ultranationalism on display in Hungarian football does not come in a vacuum. They reflect one part of Hungary's political reality. The humiliation of the Treaty of Trianon has been a core narrative for Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán's radical right-wing and increasingly authoritarian government. Orbán and his Fidesz party had openly courted Hungary's, quote, exiled populations, offering citizenship to millions in Slovakia, Ukraine, Serbia, Romania and beyond, which caused political friction with his neighbours. Orbán himself is perhaps the most football-obsessed leader in world politics. Even as he rose to power as a young idealistic anti-communist activist, he harboured dreams of playing the game professionally. And even during his first stint as Prime Minister, he was still playing for his semi-professional hometown club. One possibly apocryphal story has Orbán coming off the pitch during a game to take a call from Bill Clinton, who was informing him of NATO's decision to bomb Belgrade. And like most populists, Orbán has always understood the power of football. His government has handed out tens of thousands of Hungarian passports to those ethnic Hungarians whose families and descendants were left marooned in neighbouring countries by the treaty more than 100 years ago. But that policy has gone hand in hand with huge investments in the football teams of ethnic Hungarian communities in Croatia, Romania, Slovakia and Serbia, amongst others, who have often gone on to enjoy success on the pitch. Last season, FKTSC, a Serbian team from the small town of Bačka Topola, which has a large ethnic Hungarian population, finished second in the league. They made the Champions League playoffs and eventually qualified for the Europa League group stage. Orbán has also invested millions closer to home, in new stadiums, new academies, and the Pancho Arena in his home village of Felcsit. As the football writer and academic David Goldblatt said, Fidesz has colonised Hungarian football. And the Carpathian Brigade can be seen in part as a reflection of that worldview. The group first came to prominence in 2013 when hundreds arrived in Bucharest for a 2014 World Cup qualifier. Arriving on a train from Budapest, Hungary fans went on a rampage through the Romanian capital's old city. But it wasn't until Euro 2016 that they became a truly international phenomenon. It was the Hungarian national team's first international tournament in decades, and the Carpathian Brigade arrived en masse, dressed in black. At Euro 2020, the group displayed anti-LGBT banners and made anti-LGBT chants. They booed players who took the knee against racial injustice, and a few months later, a game against England ended in violence with players being targeted with racial abuse. When the Hungarian FA were punished by UEFA, both Orbán and his foreign minister went to great lengths not to criticise the fans, but to admonish UEFA for showing double standards. Orbán, who goes to every football match he can, made a pointed decision not to go to the 2-2 draw when Hungary played Germany, because of German criticism of a recent anti-LGBTQ law that was passed in Budapest. And like in 2021, Hungary will play Germany once again, this time on June the 19th, at the MHP Arena in Stuttgart. And behind the goal will be a block of supporters as mysterious and impenetrable as they were in 2016. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including David Ornstein, Daniel Taylor, Ollie Kay, Amy Lawrence and Rafa Honigstein. With the latest transfer news and insight on every Premier League football story that matters, theathletic.com puts you inside football. And you can try it for free now for 30 days. See the link in the description.